So nobody really wants to pay for old school RuneScape membership. $11 a month is, well, a little bit expensive for a 2001 point-and-click fantasy simulator. That said, the only alternative is to buy bonds through the Grand Exchange, which are getting more expensive every year. Currently, they are worth somewhere between 5 and 6 mil, which can be kind of challenging to sustain every 2 weeks. Now, this gets even harder on new or even mid-level accounts, as earning a minimum of 400k per day can be somewhat challenging. Now that said, it is possible, and you can even do it in a fairly time-efficient manner. So today I'm going to be showing you how you can do this on even low-level accounts, because it is definitely possible. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you find this video helpful, always appreciate a like in the video. It really does make the almighty YouTube algorithm happy, and thus that makes me happy. So anyway, let's get started. So when you're working on a fairly new account, it can be fairly challenging to make a reasonable amount of money per hour, which usually makes bonds somewhat inaccessible. Now that said, there is a fairly time-efficient way to sustain bonds on new accounts, and that would be taking advantage of daily or hourly activities. Now I'm talking about things like farm runs, birdhouse runs, picking cactus spines, and a ton of other things I'm going to mention today. Now these provide you really good hourly rates at low levels because they are time restricted. Because you can't consistently do farm runs every day, their value goes up, which means if you stack quite a few daily activities, you can fairly easily earn yourself a bond with a reasonable daily time investment. So I'm going to start off with what I think are the easiest ones to unlock at a low level, and then we'll move up to more challenging ones that you'd probably unlock somewhere in the mid game. Now to sustain a bond, we need to earn roughly around 400k every day. So is it possible? Yes, and I'm going to show you how. Now starting off at a low level, by far the most profitable activity you can do is farm runs. Now there are quite a few different farm runs out there, and while they take a little bit to get set up, they are by far the best moneymaker at that level. Now this is because herbs are incredibly useful in a variety of potions. Now the first activity that becomes available at a very low level is farming jute seeds. Now these can be grown at level 13 farming, which is almost nothing, and are surprisingly profitable for their level. So the only real requirement to farm them is 13 farming. Now with that said, a soft requirement for pretty much anything you harvest with farming is going to be Fairy Tales Part 1, because from there you get access to the magic secateurs, which are not a hard requirement but are highly recommended. Now in Gielinor there are 4 hot patches, however personally I only go to 3 of them usually because the 4th one is on Intrana and I find it very annoying to have to bank all of my gear to go there, so I personally find it not worth the hassle or the time to get there. So the inventory setup is very simple. For any farm run you need at least these 3 tools here: a rake, spade, and seed dibber. In the bottom right corner we have the jute seeds themselves, which are dirt cheap. I think they're only 2 coins each. Now in the bottom right corner we have our compost. Now you always want to use ultra compost, and one huge tip I would recommend is as soon as you can afford it, go to the Grand Exchange and buy a bottomless compost bucket. They only cost around 150k right now. Now the bottomless compost bucket will double the amount of compost you put in it. So if you put 1 ultra compost in the bucket, you'll get 2 uses out of it, which effectively halves the cost of compost. It is such an amazing item and it will easily pay for itself in under 300 uses, which is really not that much. And in the top left corner we have our teleports. 1 teleport to Camelot, 1 teleport to the Champions Guild, and we also need 1 teleport to Yanil, but we're going to use the minigame teleport. So first up here, all we have to do is teleport to the Champions Guild, run south, and you'll find the first hot patch. From here you just need to simply rake it, use 1 ultra compost on here, and plant your jute seed. Now from here we'll teleport to Camelot, and after around 30 seconds you'll run into the second hot patch. And finally here you can use the Nightmare Zone teleport to Yanil. Alternatively, you can also use a Watchtower teleport once you've completed the Watchtower quest. From here we will run into Yanil and plant the final patch. Now once you have planted your jute seed at all 3 patches, it'll take roughly 1 hour to grow. You'll go back and harvest it, and on average you'll get roughly 20 jute fibers per patch, which equates to around 60k per run, which is honestly really amazing for such a low level farming method. Now next up here we have the conventional herb farm run, probably one of the most popular daily activities to do in the entire game. Now these realistically come online around level 32 farming or level 38 farming depending on what herb you end up going with. Now most of the herbs you can grow are profitable, but some are much better than others. Generally players will either grow toadflax or renard. Now I would highly recommend, if you are a low level and you don't have that much money, to wait till level 38 farming to grow toadflax. This is because the seeds are way cheaper and the profit is actually equal if not more than renard, at least at the lower levels. Now unlike the hot patches, there are quite a few herb patches in the game and not all of them are available right away. Now that said, a brand new account will have access to 4 herb patches, those being the Falador herb patch, the Catherby patch, the Ardoin patch, and the Hosidius patch. So those are the ones you will start with. However, once you progress through the early game and mid game, there are a few other patches you can unlock and some of them are fairly easy to get. The 3 easiest in my opinion are the Port Phasmatis patch, which you can unlock just by completing Priest and Faerell. There is the Troll Stronghold patch, which is unlocked just by completing My Arm's Big Adventure. And there is the Farming Guild herb patch, which is unlocked at 65 farming. Now that said, I'm going to show you the most basic farm run with the original 4 patches that you will get, and you can add on new patches as you unlock them. So our inventory setup is very similar to that of the jute fiber run. We still have our tools, we have our magic secateurs, our bottomless compost bucket, and our seed. The only thing that is a bit different are our teleports. So as for our teleports, very simple, we just have a teleport to Camelot, which will bring us very close to the Catherby patch. You simply just have to run a little bit to the southeast and then you're there. To get to the Ardoin patch, I'm bringing an Ardoin teleport. However, if you don't have access to that, you can simply run south from Camelot or use a fairy ring to get there. Either or, it's not too far of a run. Now to get to the Hosidius patch, I would highly recommend moving your house to Hosidius. That way you can just use a teleport to house spell and then leave, and you're pretty well right there. You just have to run a little bit to the north and then you're there. And our final teleport is a Amulet of Glory teleport, which we're going to use to go to Draenor Village. Run to the northwest and you'll get to the Falador patch, a fairly simple and easy to unlock farm run at a low level. Now when you're planting herbs, you always want to use Ultra Compost and have your magic secateurs equipped. That will give you the maximum yield. So for a herb run of 4 patches, on average you're going to profit around 60k. However, if you have access to 7 patches, you're going to profit around 100k per run. So you do want to unlock more patches as soon as you can. Now the final daily activity that I would still lump under early game are Birdhouse runs. Now, even though these were neutered a few years back, they are still a reasonably effective way to make daily profit. Also, you're going to be training Hunter at the same time, so there's another reason why you'd want to do these. Now, Birdhouse runs are locked behind the Fossil Island quest, which can take a little while to complete. But once you have access to Fossil Island, that means you have access to all of the birdhouses. Now to make this method effective, you do want to have access to some of the better teleport locations. Now first up here, I'd highly recommend unlocking the dig site teleport, otherwise it will take a bit too long to do this entire run. You will also want to have unlocked the mushroom teleportation system, which is very simple, you just have to visit each of the locations once. After that, you should be pretty much good to go. The inventory setup is very simple, you will only need the dig site pendant. On top of that, you will need a hammer, a chisel, some sort of seed. I generally use barley seeds, which you can buy right from the Grand Exchange. You'll need 4 clockwork pieces and logs to make the highest level birdhouse that you can make. Currently, I'm on my hardcore Ironman, so I can make up to U. So here is an example run. First up, we're going to teleport to Fossil Island, run up to the mushroom system and go to the Verdant Valley. As I already have birdhouses set up, we're going to go ahead and claim them. Then we'll use our clockwork piece on our log, put the birdhouse back down, fill it with seeds, and then we'll go ahead and repeat that with the other birdhouse. From there, we'll go back to the mushroom teleport system, go to the mushroom meadows, and run a bit north. From here, we'll do the same thing with the most northern birdhouse, and then start running south. We're going to run all the way south down to the swamp, and then we'll get to the final birdhouse and set that one up as well, and that is it. Now you can see in our inventory here we have found quite a few bird nests, and that is how this method is profitable. For one, the bird nests are worth a significant amount of money on their own, but you can also get jewelry and seeds as well. From this run, it looks like we're going to get around 25k in profit, which really isn't too bad for only around 3 minutes of work, and of course you'll get passive hunter experience as well. Okay, so now we're moving on to the mid-game methods, and probably one of the most powerful ones is managing Miscellania. Now this one takes a little bit of work to get going, but is by far the most powerful passive way to make money in this game. Now to get access to Miscellania, you do need to complete a few quests. The main one is one called Throne of Miscellania, and that will get you access to the majority of the content here. But I would also highly recommend completing Royal Trouble. This will make everything more effective. So you don't strictly need to complete Royal Trouble. To get the same amount of daily profit, you will want to have that done. So once you've completed those quests, you will essentially get access to your own kingdom, and you can essentially work them like slaves and get them to do what you want. This method is the most passive way to make money because you can tell them to do things, and all you have to do is leave money in a coffer for them, and they will collect resources for you even when you're not logged in. So beyond the quest requirements, to do this method effectively, you will need at least, I would say, 2 or 3 mil to be safe, but you can get away with less. Now the first thing you need to do before you start collecting resources is to get your approval rating to 100%. Now there are quite a few ways to do that, but by far the easiest one is just to come over to the northeast of the island and chop some teak trees. For every teak tree you chop, you're going to get 1% approval. So you should be able to get your approval rating up to 100% just within a few minutes. Now this does degrade over time, but the way I manage my Miscellania is I check it once per week. So you simply have to come back and chop like 10 teak trees once per week to upkeep everything. So it's extremely passive and easy. So if you go talk to Carpenter Kayak, you can check what your approval rating is at. Once you're 100%, you are good to go. So on the west side of the island, you can run over here to the Miscellania Kingdom, go up to the second floor and talk to Advisor Grimm. So the interface can be a little confusing at first, but it is really simple. Essentially, all you have to do is deposit money, and then you tell your workers what to collect. Now the coffers can hold up to 7.5 mil, and if you're fairly rich, you can just go ahead and deposit as much money as you want. The minimum that I would put in here though is 1.2 mil. If you put less than that in, your efficiency will go down a bit, but you can still get away with less. So assuming that you've completed Royal Trouble, you will have access to 15 workers, and essentially you want to put it into the most profitable endeavor at the time. Now that could of course change in the future, but right now, the most profitable endeavors are mining as well as hardwoods. So you want to remove your workers from anything else they might be involved in, retrieve all 15 workers, and then we're going to set 10 into mining, which is the max, and then 5 into hardwood, collecting mahogany, and that will be the most profitable endeavor that you can do. And that is it. We can now essentially leave this for 1 week, and they're going to do everything for you, and you won't have to do a thing. Now keep in mind the most profitable way to set up your Miscellania will change over time, so I will leave a link in the description for a wiki article that has a calculator on it, but for now, coal and mahogany are the most profitable ways to go. So yeah, we're all set to go. I will check back in a week and we'll see how much money we make. So it's been a week, and now we just have to go check on our Miscellania. Very simple to do. We're just going to run up here to the teak trees once again, chop until we have 100% approval rating. After that, we'll run back to Advisor Grimm once again, and then we'll go ahead and check on our kingdom. So in a week, we collected 5k coal and 1,000 mahogany logs. Not bad. Those will automatically be deposited into your bank, so we'll check on those in a minute. After you've collected your resources, you want to go ahead and check your resource allocation once again. You'll notice some of your money has disappeared, so you want to top that back up to at least 1.2 mil. So I actually ended up leaving this for 9 days. I kind of forgot about it, but in 9 days we ended up earning 1,350k, which means after we subtract the money we spent, we ended up earning 675k in 9 days, which is 75k per day, which is really not bad. That means in 14 days, you can earn yourself 1 mil just from Miscellania, which is incredibly good. As soon as you have access to this, you pretty much want to have it running all the time because it just is the most passive way to earn money in the entire game, and I'd highly recommend it. Now, once you progress your account a bit further to the mid and late game, there are more daily activities available there, but they are heavily dependent on diary completions. Now, there are 2 diaries I'd highly recommend trying to complete all of if you want to earn daily money. That would be the Varrock diary as well as the Corandon Kebos diary. Let's start with the Corandon Kebos diary. For completing the medium diary and above, you're going to get free dynamite every day from Thyrus. Now the value of dynamite does fluctuate a lot. As of the recording of this video though, it's worth 1,000 each, which is quite good. So once per day you can go to Thyrus and claim free dynamite. The medium diary will give you 20 free dynamite a day or 20k profit. The hard diary will give you 40 dynamite or 40k profit, and the elite diary will give you 80 dynamite or 80k profit per day just for the 30 seconds it takes to talk to Thyrus. Now the Varrock diary offers something very similar. The Varrock diary offers discount battle staves from Zaf and Varrock, and every tier of the diary will improve it slightly. For example, the easy diary will give you around 15k profit per day, the medium diary will give you 30k profit per day, the hard diary will give you around 60k profit per day, and finally the elite diary will give you 120k profit per day. Just for example, combined, if you've completed both of these elite diaries, you're going to get 200k per day in just a few minutes, and that pretty much means you've already earned half of your daily bond money. That said, elite diaries do have much higher requirements and you won't get these anytime soon, but it is something to work towards, and you should try to complete the mediums at least as soon as possible. So in the end, how much money will this earn you every day? Well, let's say that you do 2 farm runs, 2 jute fiber runs, and 2 birdhouse runs per day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Altogether, that will earn you around 360k just on its own. After that, you just have to collect your Kebos and Varrock diary rewards. I'm assuming you have the mediums done. And finally, you just have to check your miscellanea once per week. It's really not that hard. Altogether, this averages out to around 485k profit per day, and realistically, this will only take you around 15 minutes of upkeep every single day, so really not that bad. So that's pretty much it. There are of course more daily activities, but I find these to be the best bang for your buck, the most time efficient, and if you do this for 2 weeks straight, you should earn yourself pretty close to 7 mil in profit, which is more than enough for a bond, and you should have some money left over as well to spend on your account. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Now, before I go here, I want to give a massive thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thanks so much to Sejuani's Flail, The Hybrid, Guy Fawkes, Timothy Chen, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. You guys, it honestly means so much. You guys are willing to support me that much. Thank you. Also, a giant thank you to Basstich, Mexose, NDM001, and yoyosup89 for being subscribed at the Runite tier. As always, if you guys are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is an awesome way to do so. Mainly, you'll be immortalized in all of my future videos, but you also get a custom role in my Discord server, as well as access to my video release schedule. Thanks again guys, and I will see you next time.